So this is my little travel ukulele that I've been making over the last couple of months, 2 or 3 months now. It's designed to fit into a bag which goes in the overhead locker on a plane. So it's a soprano ukulele. It's a one-off design. It's asymmetrical in shape and it's got some odd sound holes, as you can see. It sounded okay. It's quite pleased with it. Doesn't sound too bad. It's got a pickup in it. I haven't actually tried that yet. Slightly out of tune, but it doesn't sound too bad. Following on from this little clip are a series of clips showing the steps that I went through in making this uke. Here are the components for the ukulele I'm about to make. It's going to be a travel ukulele, an asymmetric bodied travel ukulele, which I've never done before. First of all, I draw a full-size plan just so I can see exactly what the uke's going to look like. And I'll do some smaller, more detailed plans so that I can see, in this instance, what size bolts I need to get to bolt the neck into the body. The top is going to be spruce. This is a piece of bear claw spruce which should come up rather well. The back is going to be yew wood. I'll probably use this piece of yew. These purflings are the decorative joint on the outside of the uke, around the edges between the top and the sides and the back and the sides. And these blocks called kerfing are used to join the top and the back to the sides. These blocks will become the end block and the neck block, so internal blocks you don't see. At one end, as well as joining the two parts of the sides together, they provide a hole for you to plug into the pickup. And at the neck end, they provide a strong join to join the sides and there where you bolt the neck into the bodywork. The neck's going to be a sandwich of mahogany maple. The sides are going to be walnut. This is a piece of walnut. There's a rosewood fingerboard there. And the hardware, this shiny stuff is the frets. So you have to cut the frets to size and so on and hammer them into the fretboard. And a bridge. I'll probably make another bridge, but I'll probably use that pickup. Some position dots, bolts for bolting the neck to the body, and some machine hits. Bending the sides is one of the trickier aspects of making a uke in my experience. Starting with sides in walnut in this case, which are about 1.8 millimeters thick. I soak them in boiling water for 5 or 10 minutes and then use this electrically heated bending iron to shape them more or less to the shape they need to be. This turns the water in the wood into steam, and it's amazing how as you heat it, it suddenly becomes pliable and bends to almost where you'd like it to go, if it's going to behave at all. This is the type of wood I started off with in this case. So once it's more or less shaped on the bending iron, it gets plugged into a mould. This is obviously the shape of the final uke that I'm working on. It's a little travel ukulele in this case. And the bends are reasonably sharp on this, which made it quite tricky to actually get them into shape. In this case I've had to add a couple of extra clamps because as they're thin and proud of the mould, the sides have a tendency to cup, to go into a C shape. So that one there is an attempt at keeping the side square, as is this one here. This is my second attempt at making sides for this uke. My first attempt was using a piece of rosewood, which was very unsuccessful. It's just absolutely hopeless. Cracked on the outside, cracked on the inside. And it was a reasonable piece of rosewood, 2 millimeters, a bit less than that thick, but it just wouldn't go into those simple little bends. Playing around with this piece of walnut, which is actually from the same tree as the one I'm using on the travel uke, it bends way past 90 degrees on a much thicker piece of wood with no problem whatsoever. It's a wonderful wood. The walnut sides for the travel uke have bent quite nicely now. It's installed in the mould. Next thing to do is to insert the blocks at either end to connect it all up. At the same time, the back and the top have been cut to size. This piece of yew has turned out rather nicely. This is the back of it we're looking at. I'm installing gluing braces to this. I'm going to install rather more than I usually would, because when I made a uke out of yew wood in the past, the back has cracked rather badly, so I'm going to put quite a lot of transverse braces onto there. And the next thing to do is to decide on the bracing pattern for the top. This is my latest guess at that. It is a guess really. The top has to be strong enough to remain in one piece, but it also has to be weak enough to allow the bridge to rotate and generate sound from the top. The top's there, the top needs thinning down a bit. It needs to go down to about 2 millimeters. One of my favourite jobs in making a uke is carving the neck. The neck's been rough cut on a bandsaw, and I've clamped it to this jig that I've made just to hold it steady while I'm shaping it. Shaping it as far as I can with this wonderful little tool, and then it'll be shaped further with files and sandpaper. The body of the uke has had the kerfing glued in. It's around the edge here, to which we fix the top. Next step is to put the top on here, work out where the bridge is going to be. I've got to make the bridge and take it from there. It's quite a crucial stage in my little travel uke, gluing the top on. What we've got here is a little table. This thing with the blue top is just a little table with 4 legs. This is the mould that we've seen before. The mould is screwed to this little table. The sides are in the mould obviously, and glue has been put all around the edge of the kerfing, and however many there are, 20 odd clamps are clamping the top onto the sides. The bridge is there. I've calculated the bridge position, and I'm hoping it is the right position. In fact, if it's not the right position, you won't be seeing this. You can see this stage before. These little clips are clamping the kerfing, this stuff, which has been glued obviously on this edge, all the way around the bottom of the uke, so that we've got something to glue the back to. Now I'm cutting the slots for the frets into the fretboard. The fretboard's held in this jig, and the fret saw, this thing, which is actually a Japanese saw, which cuts on the pull, which makes it easier to control. Slots in there, slots moves backwards and forwards to cut the slot for the fret. The frets come as a piece of continuous wire, so we have to cut chunks off and then embed them, hammer them actually into those slots. Well, this is a really scary moment. It's the first time I put a string on it. The saddle's too high. I need to put the saddle down quite a lot. The nut's also too high. The nut's moving around, but I'm just put this on here to see if I can get an idea of what sort of noise it's going to make. Okay, it shows it's okay, it's okay. I want to hear that the body's ringing a bit, which it is, quite good. That's just one string, it's the wrong string. But these, I wasn't sure whether these sound holes are going to let enough sound out, so it's ringing on for a while, promising.